Well, hello everyone, and it's that time again, Tarot for Our Times. I'm Sarah Sachs, your medium on the go, and we're going to talk about the Great Awakening or the Rude Awakening. Now, as a number of my colleagues have been talking about for quite a while, is that the 29th of March, which wasn't that long ago, was supposed to be the date of the big awakening. I've heard a number of dates before, but that one is, I think that was because of lunar eclipse and the new moon. And my feeling about this sort of thing is that it just doesn't happen in an epiphany. I believe that maybe with some of these astrological phenomena, you might feel a kind of a shift and a little bit of a shift in energy, but actually the whole process it goes on for a while. So I chose the card Judgment upright and also in reverse. Now, when I did the reverse version, I had for the reverse is the rude awakening. And if you notice in the thumbnail, I had people tossing off their red maga hats and kind of floating off into the ethers. And since the election, so there have been a number of people that have been really regretting their votes, and so I look at that as the rude awakening. It's unfortunately for so many on the Republican side, they never realize the impact of what they've done until they feel it personally. And a lot of them did, like right after the day after the election when they finally bothered to ask what's a tariff. So, but this is, I watch those videos, the leopards ate my face, and a lot of people that with the TikToks, a lot of people really regretting their vote because they lost their job. Like I was, the white woman that didn't realize that she was DEI, she just thought that was the brown and the black folks. I mean, things like that. So, and so it is. So I pose the question: is that possible to happen at the same time? Pretty much, I would say that with a lot of self reflection, that the rude awakeners could be on their way to a raising consciousness or the Great Awakening. So tomorrow there's going to be the throughout the country there's going to be protests on this administration, and there's a lot of material. Every at the end of every week I say, oh my God, this week seemed to last a year. And so we had the tariffs and the more of our allies just getting super pissed off at us. We've had that and a whole lot more that poor guy that got sent off to El Salvador, and all this stuff, and the court cases going against them, a whole bunch of stuff. So, at any rate, so there will be a big demonstrations. There's going to be one here in Pittsburgh, and I've been really trying to. I'm very tempted to go, but because of my long COVID and having just recuperating from another bout, for me to walk from the Mellon Square garage over to the city county building, I'd probably have to sit down a couple of times, let alone march. So I don't think that health-wise I'm really up to it. And also, and I listen to people, a number of people, especially black women, who've said, you know what, we have done our part. We've been carrying the water, and we have done our part, I think the other folks really need to go out and protest. And while I don't necessarily equate my experience with theirs, I mean, it did spark something in me saying, back in the 60s, I was out there protesting the Vietnam War and all kinds of other things. And so I feel as though I've really done my part. I've really done my part. And I would say if I felt better, I would probably do it. But I have to decide that I can't feel guilty about it. It's just there's something that I can't do, and that's why when Tabitha, that's the one I like to watch a lot. When she talks about that, I understand the essence of what she's saying, because there have been so many of us that have really kind of paid our dues. And in fact, what we did back in the 60s into the early 70s really did move that war to come to an end, yeah, which is a really important thing. I mean, and we risked arrest and all this sort of thing. And some of the students at Kent State, I can't believe it's going to be 55 years, they lost their lives. I mean, you just never knew it was going to happen at those things. But it's not that as much as, what, I have done my part, but I will continue doing my part. And part of it is making these videos and doing other things that I can. So I feel as though as long as we can do something, that's really important. But I really will be following it tomorrow. I think these are going. I'm really thinking these are going to be so big that I have to wonder if the legacy media can continue to ignore them. I should hope not, but I will see them, because when I scroll through YouTube, they're always showing something being streamed, and actually that's what the young folks are. They're not watching those cable news and network news things, and they don't they go to YouTube and TikTok and other platforms. And I'm sure people, that was one of the reasons I was really tempted to go, because it was mainly to do live streaming on Facebook Live or YouTube Live or something like that. But I am sure there will be lots of people doing that. So I want to do a something for the first one. I want to do it a little bit different as I shuffle these decks. I want to do a double reading, a side by side, on the Great Awakening and the Rude Awakening, and see how those energies compare, because I believe that that the certain people that are moving on to a higher consciousness are very aware of the toxic masculinity and all the other negative stuff that has gone on with this orange nightmare that we've had for 10 years now. And if you lived in New York City, it's been for a lot longer than that. Okay, so I'm going to do a double reading. So on the left spread will be the Great Awakening, and the right spread will be the Rude Awakening. So this should be really interesting to see. And then I will go on to some other subjects here. Okay, so for the Great Awakening, where they are now. Oh, yeah, this kind of makes sense. And then the Rude Awakening here. Oh, okay. So with the Great Awakening, I mean, it does show a lot of hope and optimism, but at the same time, it's very important to not kind of get on that pink cloud and think that the rainbow is going to last forever. That's always the kind of the hidden message or the warning of this. But to go and feel the euphoria of the positive things that are happening. And this is interesting. The Rude Awakening here is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Now, what this is about is being um, a lot of the MAGA people are the ones, and I do agree, they're the ones that are going to be suffering the most from the tariffs and everything. And they've been really working hard to balance everything, and that's why a lot of them went out and voted the way they did. But when this is in reverse, it's totally off balance. This is like, eking it out from paycheck to paycheck. They're going to be thrown off balance. It's like, do we pay the light bill or do we eat? I mean, that sort of thing. And so that this is the point where they say, and then with the whole tariff thing, this is the point where they say, enough, enough. I'm really, really sorry that I voted for him. And those numbers are increasing every day. It's like the light bulbs go off. Okay, so energy wise for the Great Awakening is, the High Priestess here with all kinds of levels of spirituality. And it's also having taken a look at the shadow side. And some people, and my guess that probably is true, some people feel, or a lot of people feel, that we needed him one more time to really have these folks see the true shadow side of America, and that those in this group have this white pillar to shine the light on the darkness. So you can't really have this until you have taken and looked at the shadow sides, but it's also going inward and looking at your shadow. So then, energetically, we have the Empress in reverse, and there's two meanings to this. First, on the personal level, it's the promise of the abundance and the fertility that was given before the election, like the price of eggs and gas and all that stuff is going to drop, and it hasn't. So they're not enjoying the prosperity. This is also possible. Finally, it could be getting through that Russia has been in on this and has fed them a load of garbage. And the clowns in the foreign thing, I mean, okay, going at it this way. Okay, so we're going to take a look and see. We're going to go to the past. So we have the Hanged Man in reverse. Okay, the Hanged Man in reverse. And so this is pretty much having been stuck in the past in this various situations, and finally becoming aware of it and getting ready to pretty much ditch that, getting off this one position. I would say it's like getting out of the yoga class and going into the streets, or going to the phone, or making a video and making a contribution and doing and doing something to change things. That it's a very spiritual thing, which unfortunately many in my community think that it's more spiritual to ignore what's going on in the world today, but that's not how it works. If you saw my anniversary of spiritualism and the Fox sisters, and how so many have not been following the traditions, but the ones that are going to the higher consciousness realize that they live in this world. So here in the past, for the rude awakening, is the promise that was made, like, happily, if you vote this way, happily ever after. But as I say in my readings with the Ten of Cups here, is that rainbows are lovely, but they only last a very short amount of time. But they were promised that it would last forever. So here comes the disillusionment. So in the present mode with the Great Awakening is the Nine of Pentacles. And this is about riches and abundance, but also being very aware that they can be a trap. I often see, a lot of times I see this card in reverse as a more positive thing, but this is becoming aware of the oligarchy, and that a lot of us who are doing the manifesting law of attraction, saying beware of this. Beware of this. Be careful of what you wish for. So that is the spiritual lesson of the oligarchs right in front of you, like it's not all that it's cracked up to be. So then we have, for the rude awakening, the Emperor. And what I believe is that that at this point they're becoming aware of the fact that there are better people to lead us, and that it isn't all about going out and rattling sabers and brandishing guns, because as you see, he's wearing his robe, and his armor is covered. And I've always found the meaning of this card to be is that he's not going to look for a fight, but if one comes, he's ready. But that he is not the aggressor, and he is the benevolent leader. So this is I think they thought maybe that Trump was that way, but he certainly hasn't been acting that way. So here we have that maybe that they're looking at, they probably don't know who that person is yet, but seeing that there's a better way to lead. So coming up in the future, we have here the Knight of Wands in reverse for the Great Awakening. And sometimes it's better to hold back a little bit and pick your battles than going right into it and without thinking. So, and that's pretty much what this card is saying. It's like, just pick your battles. So, which is kind of a wise decision. And so let's see what we have here for the rude awakening is that they really realize that they have lost, is that sometimes in winning the MAGA argument and voting and owning the libs, it's a total losing thing. It's just not going to fill up their bank account, and that is what they're becoming aware of. So let's see, in the hopes and the fears of this. This is kind of interesting, and in the hope is uncovering the corruption, and they're seeing the corruption and seeing that the misplaced energy of money, and that this is about corruption and greed, and this is what is pretty much in front of them. And also in manifesting, again, it goes with her. It's like, be careful what you wish for. So over here we have in the hopes and the fears, that this is the card of worrying and insomnia. So I don't think this group here has gotten to the hopes yet, but they have gotten to the point like, what did I do? What on earth did I, and worrying very much that their choice, what has happened with their choice is that it's put them in a very bad position. So, there is a fear of the future and what is coming next, and that the economy has been burnt to the ground. So to me, this is kind of moving over here, but the thing is that there's going to be a lot of that. What they have to do is do a lot of soul searching and realizing that they just can't go flip flopping to from one to the other. There's going to have to be a commitment made. So let's see for concluding. Let's see for concluding. Okay. The Three of Wands in reverse is that pretty much, for the Great Awakening crowd is that maybe, and I thought of it myself, maybe running right now, maybe running to foreign lands or seeing what is better is not, it's not practical. What you've got to do for the time being, what you've got to do, and this goes in with what will be happening tomorrow, is to stay here and see what can be done. And then over here we have perfect identity crisis. The Page of Cups is all about the identity, that with the people with the rude awakening. All of this stuff that, all this Republican stuff, which was never quite this bad, that has gone on for generations, and they see it isn't working. So where do they go from here? They still kind of want to own the libs and maybe not want to really be in that crowd. But this old stuff isn't working. So there's a real identity crisis going on with this. Where with the Great Awakening is stay here for a while and see what you can do. This may not be forever, but to stick around. Okay, so we got those. And then I want to see if tomorrow's I just hope that things go peacefully. I suspect that people are going to make a big effort to do that. Now, there could be some wolves in sheep clothing, or the agent provocateur, which were big in the Black Lives Matter from 5 years ago. So we will see what's going on with that. So let's see. I want to take a look and see how the protests are going to be going. And I think I'll shuffle these because they're probably going to be the clarifiers. So I want to see how these protests are going to go tomorrow. As I grab that Llewellyn deck. So how are they going to go tomorrow? Are they going to be part of this Great Awakening with people peacefully being out in the streets, or will not that many people show up? I highly doubt that. Highly doubt that. Or are they going to turn sour? So let's see what's going to happen. What's going to happen with these? What's going to happen with these? Okay, so. Okay, so signifying this in the right now is it's the Seven of Wands, and this is about the position of the people coming out, which will be a lot of middle class progressive people, and maybe some of the disenchanted feeling as though he's got an army, he's got this, he's got that, and it's kind of like we're going to be up against a lot and maybe even bad publicity, but we're going to stand our ground. So we got that going on with the energy of the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So in this one, It's usually the artist bargaining with the patrons, but in this one, she's. I think she. Yeah, I think what this is that she makes upright. She's making the money from her, you know, her needlework or her whatever she's crafting. Yep, I think she has a needle there, and so she's getting ready to sell her goods. In reverse, I would say that this is talking about there is no compromise. There is absolutely no compromise. We are out there. That's what we're doing. This is what we're doing, and we're no longer going to try to appease the magas. There's just no bargaining. So okay. So then we have here the underlying stuff is the Ace of Cups. This is about, we've had it. We've absolutely had it. We've had it with Fotis. We've had it with the muskrat. There's a very, very, very heavy duty emotional thing with this. And, you know, with great changes comes a lot of tears. So this is what's happened with a lot of the people that have been hurt, or maybe been in shock over this. Now that the release of emotions is kind of part of this great awakening thing. Okay. We've got the Tower. That is what this whole thing has been since he put his grubby little paws on the, and I do grubby little paws on the Bible. It has been one catastrophe after another, and there's nothing like the Tower to get people out in the streets. I mean, back in the 60s, it was civil rights in Vietnam as the Tower, so that's very, very similar. I can tell you the ones that I was in, like I was in that big one in New York City, right in 69, just days before. That was sort of like the warm-up for the big one in DC. It was, I think, November of 69. Very peaceful. I was lucky. I was not in Chicago in 68, but I was in some big ones, and fortunately they were very peaceful. But you need a tower to get people out in the streets. Okay. I say this is very, very a positive thing. So this is the pages are the messages, and this is the message that along with this could be, hopefully will bring about greater health and prosperity when the message goes across. And that is the hope, that the message will get across. So we have in the conscious. Oh, I just pulled I pulled an article. I just grabbed that, but I guess there are no accidents. So this is about nature. This is about, and it's about spring. Yeah, it does look pretty springy. Nature and spring. It's waking. It's spring and it's awakening. And what a better time than to have a great awakening. And it could be the awakening of seeing who shows up and how peaceful it is. So then the subconscious thoughts we have, the Hierophant. And that is taking back the institution of government, which is what the Hierophant, all our institutions have been turned upside down and put on their ears. So this is what is the underlying thing that's bringing people out, is that it's like trying to get some order back in our lives because it's totally chaotic, and deep down inside we feel the chaos. So in the present we have the Seven of Cups, which represents all the chaos and the smoke screens that the Trump crowd has been throwing. And this is interesting because in this card, it doesn't look like she's being fooled by them, but it looks like she's really examining all of this stuff. So that's what's going on with people. They're really reflecting on all of this now. So, or they have been. They have been for a while. So looking at the options past the smoke screen and deciding this is the time to do it. And it's interesting because we're getting near the end of Mercury retrograde, and on the 13th, which is a little bit in the distance, we have a full moon coming up. Okay, in the present, this is all the chaos and the fighting that's been going on. And this is kind of a young energy. What I would say, and I have been saying, is this represents the MAGA ultra right wing with the infighting. And I understand that, some of those January 6th people they're all infighting. They're all paranoid and infighting. So what this is, the important message of this is to take advantage of it. Take advantage of it, because what happens is that part of becoming more aware is seeing that the conflicts of those opposing you, or the toxic ones, let them fight. Just let them fight and destroy each other. So this is a lesson in people being their own worst enemies. So coming up in the not too distant future is that see what happens tomorrow, and then it's time to take a little bit of a break, step back and reflect on all of this, and then see what the next move is, see if this works. So this is in the immediate future. It's like, don't forget to take care of yourself. And that if you do participate, that there will be need for some rest and reflection to see what's going to happen next. And then we have the Emperor, which is new leaders emerging. We did see that in Cory Booker this past week with his big filibuster. And as I said in a previous reading, this is pretty much about other people being inspired and following suit. I'm sure that Bernie Sanders and AOC and Jasmine Crockett were, I would say, a very big influence for him to take the initiative and go out on that Senate floor. So this is finding, and this is also, because we can learn a lesson from Trump, because he's the emperor in reverse, and the emperor upright is the benevolent, strong. The ruler is stronger when he is compassionate and not looking to fight the rest of the world. So this is, I believe, what will come out of this is a new and stronger leader. So what the lesson to be learned from this tomorrow is, okay, the Six of Cups in reverse. It's like there's no going back to the past. There's no appeasing. And although I do mention the protests of the 60s, that it isn't the 60s. Although the lessons to be learned from the 60s in the past is that when they tell you to get off the curb, be very orderly. Don't let the troublemakers provoke you. So there's lessons to be learned from the past, but you cannot live in the past. We are not in the 60s anymore, but there are some lessons to be learned from this. So I would say that this very well could be this could be part of the Great Awakening. The only danger that as I revisit the five of wands is that be very careful of those in the crowd, counter protesters and the bad agents in there. So do not let them provoke you. Feelings are pretty high, so do not let them provoke you into misbehaving. So I just want to take a very quick look at pretty much as we move forward, and part of this pretty much enlightenment, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which has been dawning for over 50 years now, but and this is that whole thing about the age of Aquarius going from the age of Pisces, which is the more introspective thing, is that the age of Aquarius is getting out there, getting involved with the community, righting the civil wrongs, and pretty much living in harmony and unity. I mean, there will never be a perfect utopia, but I just want to see how this is going to impact us in the future. Because I think the way I see this Great Awakening may be a little bit different than others. Some of it sounds a little bit too magical for me, but okay, let's see here. So as far as where this is going in light of the political climate, let's see, we have the High Priestess. Yeah, more spirituality. And the High Priestess is about not just one religion, but she embraces all the different faiths and see what she, that they all work in different aspects of your life. And then kind of in the past of this is I think it's to wise up and being aware of the false gods, that there is no one magical person that is going to come and save us. And this is what we should be really aware of what's happening. Then coming up a little bit in the future is that if we manage to turn all of this toxicity and learn the lesson and just vote out all of this or wait for whatever to happen, that there could be a new era of shared prosperity and health, which we don't really have now. And so energetically we have the 10 of wands. So it's also the ending the era of carrying too many burdens. It's maybe more cooperative, that sort of thing, because as we get more equity, there are fewer burdens that we have. So I just want to do a few cards on top of this just to see what's what here. Okay, so we're talking about in the future of how this Great Awakening affects politics and current events. So then we have underlying here that right now still a lot of things to worry about. There's we are living in some anxiety, so it is, it's, I think that, of course, to be useful in society, you've got to take care of your own anxieties and get your own house in order. But you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So while you're doing that, it's good to get outside of yourself and realize if you help those less fortunate, which has always been a big spiritual, principle, then that could take some of the worry off of you. And that a big part of this is a rising of a new feminine energy. We have got to the United States is really, really light years behind allowing a woman to take the leadership role. We had a couple of chances with some very good women, but misogyny and then that and racism ruled the way. So I think part of this will be a woman. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm hoping to see it in my lifetime, but it will be part of this thing is to have an enlightened woman on, like Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris in the leadership role. And I think there's quite a few wonderful ones waiting in the wings. So I think this is going to be part of it, and that's part of the rude awakening. Like, get over it, you people. You would not be worrying about your jobs or losing your farms if you had voted for the better woman. Okay, oh, this is good. This is going to be, there's a lot of healing from the heartaches and the heartbreaks. And discovering who the traitors are, which are sitting in government right now. There's a lot of healing from this. It's a good thing this is in reverse. And then it's kind of interesting because this is what began the whole thing, and the first spread is finally starting to get a balance. Now, in this Two of Pentacles, it's not easy. He's struggling, and there's the ships in the background trying to keep them afloat, but he's doing it. It's not easy, but he's doing it. So I think this is what the Great Awakening will be about, is to balance the prosperity, that we can't have it all one-sided, that sort of thing. I will say that I feel this reading is optimistic. And in the Judgment card, with the people coming out of the coffins, it's like a rebirth. It's a rebirth. But first you need it, for those less enlightened, you need to have it in reverse, where they have to go through some harsh judgment from the rest of society and realize that they have been losing a lot, and then lose those red hats. They've just got to lose those red hats. So I think the two of them do go pretty much hand in hand, the Rude Awakening and the Great Awakening, because we've all had our rude awakenings. Whether it's trying to, and boy, I'll tell you, some of those cabinet members, like hitting bottom and realizing you've got to get sober. I mean, those people will never be the Hegseths and the Muskrats and all of these people, and God only knows who else is abusing substances that, they need a rude awakening, and that is, it's the hitting bottom, and that's what it is. You hit bottom, then all you have to go is up to a great awakening. So I would say it's not going to be a massive thing all at once like the Judgment card, but I think more and more people are going to be doing it at their own pace. So at any rate, that's my take on it. So I will sign off for now. Bye.